I simply stand by the statement that I made.
Yeah.
I think King versus Burwell is going to change the landscape.
All right. If by chance...
Now, may I expound upon that
of
a little
course.
bit? King versus Burwell occurs because a plain reading of the language in the statute would indicate that states that did not set up a state exchange would not be eligible for the subsidies. Jonathan Gruber, although he's walked it back, Jonathan Gruber alluded to that as well, and he was the primary architect of the Affordable Care Act. Now, this is important because why did so few states actually decide to set up exchanges?
Let me take back my time right this moment. I'm going to come right back to you. Why they didn't was because of politics. Now go right on.
The reason they did not was because the administration played hide the ball with the governors of this country. But that extension kind of occurred at the time of Christmas and New Year's, or I'm sorry, Christmas and Thanksgiving. Everyone's staff was out of town. They said, we don't have enough data to evaluate it. So they were given another extension until the first of the year. And at that point, Mr. Cohen said, we just got to know who's in or who's out. So it was a deadline. You've got to tell us this month, are you in or are you out? January of 2013. And 36 states said no deal.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. It's because the administration hid the ball. Had the administration worked with the governors, we might be talking about an entirely different...
Had the administration worked with the governors, had the governors worked with the administration, we might not be in this position. And I don't know about in your state, which I think is a crazy state to begin with. And I mean Chairman, that just as I said it.
Mr. Chairman.
Some of the policies... Mr. Burgess doesn't have the time, Madam Chair. But I have the time.
I realize Mr. Hastings interrupted Mr. Burgess.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. I didn't interrupt him. I reclaimed my time, and I think that is the procedure here in this body.
But, Madam Chairman, the gentleman made a very defamatory statement about my state, and I will not stand here and listen to it.
Well, fine. Then you don't have to listen. You can leave if you choose. I told you what I think about Texas. I wouldn't live there for all the tea in China, and that's how I feel. Now, for all intents and purposes, I know what my state did, which is in many respects coming close to being just as crazy, and that is they did not expand Medicaid. And for that reason, I particularly take umbrage with all of the thought about the number of people, 860,000 people in my state that are left in the lurch.
In an amendment that's going to be self-executed. That amendment, by the way, had to be redrafted again because it was put together so hurriedly. Now we have a new version that removes the word submit, and it's not. I mean, and this is how this bill is being put together. If there is anything that I think my friends on the other side of the aisle should be clear about in their own mind, given the fact that we've been doing this 56 times, is how to write a bill to repeal the Affordable Care Act. And here we are with yet another version of the self-executing amendment being dropped on us. It goes to the point I was making earlier, that you ought to open this process up. You ought to rely on regular order now that the committees are organized. And we ought not have to be drafting things at the last minute and changing things as we go along. And this process is just as flawed as the underlying bill. And I thank the gentleman for yielding. And
I thank you, and I repeat what the gentleman said, and I repeat for all of you that 22 years ago I learned that closed rules were not a good thing. It wasn't good 22 years ago when I came here, and it's just as bad now. And we're getting ready to do another closed rule, and I will continue the mantra that we should return to regular order. Thank you, gentlemen, for your presentations, and thank you, Madam Chair. I yield back the balance.
The gentleman yields back. We don't have a parliamentarian here to give us notes on what to say when people may not be saying exactly the right things. But we owe to our colleagues, especially our colleagues on this committee, a great deal of civility. I've been very concerned in several meetings that we have had recently about words that are being used in this committee in terms of being on the edge of impugning the integrity of other members. If we were on the floor, I think the parliamentarian would be called on to make a ruling on some of the words that have been used in here as it relates to members. I'm very concerned again about the civility in this committee. And I want to say that we owe each other, again, being civil.
Chair, I believe the time is mine in the sequence.
Dr. Burgess is recognized.
Madam Chair, I'm not going to speak on the bill for the Rules Committee, but I do feel that I need to say that as a member of Congress, I'm used to attacks and invective being tossed my way. That's part and parcel of the territory. But there is no reason at all to impugn the people, the governor of a state of this country. And I will await the gentleman's apology. And I yield back.
You will wait until hell freezes over.
The gentleman
For me to say anything in an apology. I would apologize to you if I was directing my comments to you. I was commenting about the state that you happen to be a resident of.
I believe the gentleman
So I will not apologize.
The gentleman from Texas controls the time. I mean,
the gentleman from Texas.
I just do not see the value in a member of this Rules Committee hurling invective towards a state and its people and its governor. It's just uncalled for, and there is no reason that any member of this committee should do that.
The gentleman from Florida does not have the floor.